This is the training for the win question of the 401, 4 questions on one sheet of paper, one session. So let me go directly to my document video, and I'm going to train you on how to do the win of the 411. All right, so the first thing we do, obviously, we have our 411 sheet already out. They'll already have the win up in the left-hand corner, but it's always good when you get to the win. Let's go back over the 4 questions we have, or at least the 3 questions before that. Our first question is, why should we share the gospel, make disciples? Who are we going to make disciples of? Where are we going to start, more or less? What are we going to say? And then we get to the last question, which is when. I often preface the win by just saying, if you never get to the win, then this has all been a massive waste of time. In fact, James chapter 1 describes the person who gets the why, the who, and the what, but never gets the when. He is like a man who is a hearer of the word, but not a doer. He looks at the mirror, sees himself, and goes away and quickly forgets that. And that's exactly what's going to happen with the 3 other questions if you do not get to the when. So, real quickly, if you could write on the when, Mark chapter 8, verse 34 through 35. And if you could read that with your buddy real quickly and just try to find out what is the major takeaway from those 2 verses. All right. So you give them a few minutes. So we're gonna break right there. I'm gonna put a line right here. This is where our first break is, where you have them read it. So break 1. All right. So they come back from that reading, and again, that shouldn't take more than 45 seconds or so. If less. And then you ask the question, what's the main thrust of Mark chapter 8, verse 34 through 35? You're going to hear a lot of things: follow God, take up your cross, follow Jesus, whatever. Those are all true, but what we're looking for is the phrase or the primary thrust is, it is a call to die. We actually hear this call several times in the Gospels. It's a call to die. Now, the reality is, in the Western Hemisphere, many of us are not going to shed blood for the gospel and discipleship. However, there's 2 major categories that we find in the West that people are going to have to die to see the gospel move forward, or discipleship in their life. The first area, put number 1, put a line here, and put the word comfort. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 100 times. I am not comfortable doing X. And so the big category to death is comfort, is I'm not comfortable. In fact, I would challenge you, there's not one place in scripture that I'm aware of that when God calls us to do something, that it's comfortable. In fact, on the other side of your discomfort is generally God's provision. The second major category of area that we have to see death to is in the area of calendar. And that's a big one. And I'm not talking death to bad things, death to good things. We often say you'll never become proficient in sharing the gospel and making disciples in your spare time. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to get with your buddy. I want you to look at them and tell them in Mark chapter 8, verse 34 through 35, the big call is a call to die. And the 2 major categories of death in the West is in the area of comfort and in the area of calendar. So this is going to be our second break right here. So I'm going to put break 2 right there. All right. So again, it should take just I don't know, maybe a couple, maybe a minute at the most for them to go back and forth. And while they're doing that, what you want to do is, while they're talking, you're writing setting goals underneath here. And the first goal we're going to put is prayer. And so you'll put it just like that. And then you're going to put a line over here and put time. All right. The second goal is going to be a train goal. All right, you put some over there. And then put a name. And then 3, share goal. And this one, I want you to put a name / a time. Okay. So as they're doing that, you're doing this up on the board. All right. They come back. Great. All right, guys. Now we talked about these kind of things in general. Now let's get the boots on the ground and actually set some tangible win goals. Okay. So the first one is the prayer goal. This is you are to set up a time. Literally go to your phone. In fact, I tell everyone get their phones out. And let's see here. And go to your was it your clock, I think, right here, and actually set a time for mine's 10:02, a time where you're going to pray each day, just like a popcorn prayer, to pray for lostness and pray for your boldness to get into a spiritual conversation. So mine's 10:02 every day. I pray for it's just a quick prayer. I lift up people. I pray for laborers and I pray for lostness. All right. So that's a time. I want you to set a very specific time. Now, the next one is a train. This is a a person, a believer. We train believers in something in the 411, the why, the who, the what, or the when. You're going to train them, or all of it, um, in the 411. I've generally found that a family member or a child is the best place to start. So you're going to put a name there. I'm going to put John. He's a guy I'm working with right now. And then this is where it gets hard. You'll notice this kind of funnels down. This is very simple. This one gets a little more difficult because we're dealing with somebody else. And then this one is really where the death is high. And so what I want you to do is I want you to put a name of a person that you know that is far from God, doesn't go to church, where the case may be. And I'm going to put Eddie. He's my neighbor. And then to make this a little bit harder or bites a little bit, I want you to put a time that you're going to reach out to Eddie, a day and a time. I'm going to reach out to Eddie on Tuesday. I'm going to text him. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, listen, Eddie, I learned something at church or in a training, and I would love to share it with you. It's something I have to get an opportunity to share with you. Would you allow me to come by, get a cup of coffee, and share with you? And that's where you share the gospel with them. All right. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to break at this point. This is our third break, and this is the last break of the win. And what you're going to do is you're going to tell everyone, okay, turn to your buddy and share them your prayer goal, your train goal, and your share goal. Share that with your buddy, and then your buddy do the same thing, and they share their goals. And then once you're done, you pray and that you can accomplish these goals, and then you're done with the win. All right, guys, that is the win. I hope that was tight, quick, and to the point. Thank you very much.